Once upon a time there lived a king. He had very strong kingdom. Though he was a king, he has a strong curiosity and he wanted to learn about justice and fairness. So one day he called his prime minister to discuss this. He asked him to name the most famous teacher of justice living in his kingdom. When the minister mentioned the best teacher's name, the king ordered that the teacher should start visiting the palace from very next day. The teacher was a wise and humble person. He agreed to visit and teach the king in his palace. 6 months passed like this. Like all good instructors, he wanted to test King's learning. The whole palace was eager to celebrate the success of the king. But the result was very bad. The king failed. Everyone became silent. He could not blame the teacher for his failure. His former students were all successful people. So the king called one of the teacher's students, who was now a judge, and asked, "We both study under the same teacher. How could you improve a lot and pass the test and not I?" The teacher pupil replied, "I will ask you 3 questions. If your answer to those is yes, then you will know the cause of your failure to learn." The curious king was very interested to know those questions. Any more important the reason that made you fail the test? "The first question is," said the judge, "when our teacher comes to teach you, does he greet you before you do?" The king said, "Yes, it is he who has to greet me as I am the king and he is a subject." Alright, the second question. When you sit down for the lesson, do you occupy a higher seat than him? Remarked the judge. "Yes, of course. I sit on my throne and the teacher remains in his chair," replied the king. "I see." And the last question is, do you consider yourself the king and him as a subject? Inquired the judge. "Yes, the crown, the court, the throne, and the servant around me remind me of this fact." The judge then explained, "O king, teaching does not benefit those who do not respect the teacher." The king nodded and changed his thinking. The next day, when the teacher came for the lesson, the king was waiting at the gates. He greeted him first and then the teacher greeted king. When it was time to sit for the class, he made the teacher sit on the throne and he himself sat on the feet. Throughout the time the teacher taught him, he constantly reminded himself that he is not a king but a learner. The next time the test took place, the king was very successful in answering the queries. Throughout the time the teacher taught him, he constantly reminded himself that he is not a king but a learner. Moral of the story: we should respect our teachers so that we succeed in our life. Thank you.